Yes, the government's making a fresh pitch for overseas tourists, launching a $13.5 million marketing push targeting key markets like Australia, China and the US. The goal? To lure an extra 72,000 visitors by early 2027 and inject another $300 million into the economy, all funded through the International Visitor Levy. China's slower than hoped rebound is a key focus. While other markets are bouncing back, Chinese visitor numbers are still well below pre-COVID levels. Tourism Minister Louise Upston says the campaign is part of a wider growth strategy with a broader tourism roadmap set to roll out shortly. And with visitor numbers still about 18% below their pre-pandemic peak, this campaign looks like it's aimed at helping regional tourism. I might be wrong. We'll find out. To discuss this, the Minister does join me now. Louise, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Leah. How are you?
I'm good. Great to talk to you again, Minister. What's the thinking behind the new $13.5 million campaign? What makes the right time to roll it out?
Well, we do know that we've got capacity at the moment, so we're only at 86% of the visitor numbers that we had in 2019 before COVID. So we've got capacity, we've got accommodation, we've got restaurants, cafes, bars, activities and experiences that all have capacity to take on more customers. So we've got to do a really big push to ensure that international visitors are choosing New Zealand. And we've got a bit more competition out there at the moment. I think it's fair that we haven't been as aggressive marketing New Zealand as we could have been. And that's why this extra $13.5 million gives us a big push into our top three markets.
And I want to look at them, Louise. Are we talking Australia, China and US in particular?
Yes. So China, we know, is down at 61% of the pre-pandemic numbers. So we've got a big sort of growth area there that we need to focus on. There's been one change that we've already made around reducing the friction. You may remember a couple of weeks ago at Trends, we announced that we will no longer require a certified translation of the visitor visa documents. That was extra cost, extra complexity, and was taking extra time. So that's one change we've made. We'll be looking at others. But what I'd heard from a number of agents was there was a bit of confusion in the China market about whether New Zealand was open or not, whether we actually wanted Chinese visitors to come at all. So that's what I mean. We've got competition with other countries who are far more assertive in marketing their countries. So we've got a bit of catch up to play, and that's what we're doing.
So that's interesting, Minister, because some China visitors thought that we were still shut down.
No, they just thought that we weren't as welcoming to visitors. So you'll remember
or all visitors?
A bit of both, I suspect.
Okay.
And the conversations were, if you think about the previous government, they focused on really just wanting the high end of the market. And so if you weren't a wealthy tourist, they weren't quite so keen on you coming. And so I think, unfortunately, in some markets, China in particular, a number of changes that were made, as well as that messaging from the previous government, left a bit of an impression about, well, do you want us to come or not? And so we have to set the record straight. That's why I've been really clear about New Zealand being open for business and welcoming visitors from anywhere, any time to any location, and putting money behind it to actually go into the China market with a campaign that will appeal to them so they do know that we would welcome them back with open arms.
And I don't know if it was the last conversation we had, but I thought that Australia was already our number one country that came here. Like, of all the visitors, it's Aussies that are number one, and then it filters down.
Yeah, so they're at 95% of the pre-COVID rate.
Yeah.
So they
you
are
still
our
want to
biggest
push
market.
them though?
Absolutely. We're the closest. So in terms of visitors making a decision in the next couple of months and jumping on a plane, they're more likely to come from Australia. And this campaign is really looking at visitors in the next 18 months. So for coming from a further distance like the States, a longer lead time in terms of planning, whereas Australia, not so much. So they're our top three markets, and we just want to push into those countries to say, come on back. or if you were thinking about coming, now's the perfect time to book and come on over.
You're aiming to bring 72,000 visitors with this push. How did you get to that number? Quite specific, Louise.
Well, the Tourism New Zealand have ways of calculating this, but let me just say, in terms of the COVID numbers to now, we're still about 600,000 visitors shy.
Well
done. So it's quite a big number for us to make up. This is one measure of many that we will focus on.
600,000 down on pre-COVID numbers.
Correct.
Jeez, that's a lot.
So it's a lot of customers for our businesses that are very keen to get visitors in.
Yeah. So the tourism industry has been calling for support. You know this. You've been catching up with them regularly. Does this campaign, you think, go far enough to help regional operators in particular?
Yeah, so there was a separate part of the Tourism Boost, which I announced a month or so back, both at regional events and a regional boost. So we've done some of that work already, and we'll continue looking at what are the opportunities to ensure that we are dispersing visitors around the regions. And we'll continue to do that because it means that we get wider coverage. Visitors get a greater experience in terms of more parts of New Zealand. And there's a couple of locations that have a bit of pressure at the moment around numbers. So we want to make sure that we're spreading the visitors around.